Okay, everyone, welcome to our fifth mini mindful moment. I am going to share some information with you about the topic that we're going to cover today, which is how to navigate fear with clarity. Like when things get confusing or uncertain or money gets tight. This is the kind of thing that when there's a whole lot of change going on in the world, everybody ends up having to deal with. And what we want to be able to do is have a clear steps forward that benefit as many people. I think of it as shareholders when you're talking about a business. It could be family members if it's at home, to benefit as many people as possible. So I am Karen Tax. I'm a leadership coach who loves leading mindfulness practices that have practical outcomes. And this is sort of a tricky thing because true mindfulness comes from a place of non-attachment to outcome. So to be leading this in a way where it's preparing you to have outcomes means you're also open to that kind of non-attachment. It allows you to be super resilient and creative when things are changing around you. You can join me actually in my Zoom room at the end of the mindfulness practice, or you can come in and at whatever time you want to come into the Zoom, and then you can we can debrief and have a Q&A at the end for those of you who want to join. So all of the mini mindful moments that I am doing are based on a tool that I've created called the IMX Compass that is based on the rhythm of the seasons and the days, which is something that we can all relate to. And so it gives us a common ground from which to come from, to anchor into, that allows us to get out of dynamics of right and wrong and fear and blame and the way those kinds of interactions limit us into a whole lot more possibility that works for everyone. I provided an experience of the compass in our first practice. So if you missed that one, make sure you go back and experience it when you get a chance. The link is in the description. Experience that in session one. All of our previous practices were focused on winter in the north of the compass. And today we're moving into the east and spring, where we'll touch into the parts of you that come alive with the warming and lengthening of the days and expansion of life, like the bursting forth of these flowers or new growth, green growth. It's for those of you who have had spring land where you live, you know that feeling of aliveness that comes through in spring. And it carries with it this spring energy, the hopes for new life and new potential. And all of this, right now is just beginning to come into reality. We can see the beginnings of new reality happening. So we've talked about leadership presence as well and awareness. What we're cultivating here in these mindfulness practices is awareness and how this allows you to navigate chaos with grace. And how when you become reactive, you can go into like the low energy of collapse or I give up, I just don't know, or high energy hyperdrive. And what most people don't realize is that these reactive states are when your nervous system is operating from a threat response. So if you're being motivated and driven by fear, when this happens, it may be really low grade. Like I just had a conversation with somebody this morning and they were saying, we're just always stressed. There's always, 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 always stress. And it's like, wow, that's a fear response when you're feeling stress like that. And to always be in a threat response, dealing with some sort of fear is really, really not effective. So you can check out my first 4 practices, if you haven't already, mini mindful moments, where I cover a lot of these topics. So this is my garden, this picture. I took it literally yesterday, and you can just see the aliveness and the beauty that comes here. So the energy and wisdom of spring gives us clear vision, the ability to see beyond reactivity and fear or stress, to perceive more clearly what's possible when the situations around us are scary or uncertain or confusing or stressful. And I sometimes think of this as being able to see the beauty in the mess. It's not all the mess. It can be absolutely beautiful. But to perceive more clearly and see opportunity in confusion or uncertainty or stress, we need to be like a camera lens, kind of like imagine this woman in the camera, us one, and we need to know where we are focusing from. And with spring, it's like this woman looking at the sun rising in the east day after day. We know that sun's going to rise. We know in spring the flowers are going to bloom. So the east is where you can perceive from the wisdom of spring that brings both a realistic perception of what's going on, like radical honesty, at the same time, a hopeful perspective. So we're going to experience what this is like. So navigating fear with clarity requires us to look within ourselves with eyes wide open. And I love this picture of like that cozying up with the scary things, like we love a mystery. We love to be scared, right? So this is happening in real life all the time. But we also want to make sure we're not deceived by the scary things that we're seeing or experiencing and think that that's the only reality there is, because that is never true. So it's like looking at your monster to-do list, which for so many of us can feel overwhelming and daunting. Looking at the list and realizing that not everything on this list is equally important. So to have clear vision, we need to be able to flip our perspective and orientation and where we're focusing, seeing, perceiving from. And where we flip from reactivity and fear caused by exterior situations into a more spaciousness and calm center place within ourselves, where so much more becomes possible. It's in here. So spring energy is like, I want to go back so that with that clear vision, it's where we go to this interior perspective instead of being driven by that exterior perspective. Right. So this is the image that goes with that message, where we know we're coming from this interior place where we can see more. So spring energy is like a seed sprouting from soil. And what we need to do is make sure that the soil we're focusing from, or I think of it as the soil inside of us or the weather inside of us. When we think of it as soil, we don't want the soil to be compacted from fear. And this picture that you see shows this beautiful, rich, organic soil that it's like, of course, we're going to be effective here with that kind of beautiful soil. So we can start with our monster to-do list as our teacher. And we can flip from focusing from soil inside of us that's compacted from fear, so that when we do that, that our list is like an enemy or a foe to conquer. It's like, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to win with the to-do list. And instead, to seeing fear, I'm using this image again because I love it. Seeing fear as a friend, teaching us to discern what's really, really important. Oh, I'm getting anxious. Oh, I'm getting fearful. Then we can navigate that fear with clarity and say, what's really going on here? So let's go ahead and experience that now, how to flip from fear into clarity by going into our mini mindful moment. And I want to have us do that, but keep your eyes open here. I want you to look at the words here on this slide that describe what it might feel like to be free from pressure. I want you to just look at these words here. And think about, okay, here are some. What words would you use to describe what you feel like when you're free from pressure? You might imagine yourself being in like a calm, peaceful vacation spot or a place where you feel where you can let yourself go and away from that freedom and fear and pressure. You have freedom from the fear and pressure. So go ahead now and close your eyes. And I want you to notice your breath and your body and your thoughts, your feelings, as you are now in this moment free from pressure. And take a moment to let yourself anchor into this feeling of being free from pressure. We sometimes call this being at your best. Right now, we're easing into this best space in this practice. It's where you have a deep sense of the soul or essence of you, the center of you. Give yourself a moment to just feel that. As we do these mini mindful moment practices, you will build the muscle of connection to this part of you. So even a glimmer of feeling anchored into your best is enough. So from here, I want you to now think about a challenge that you're facing that is causing your stress or has the potential to cause you stress or concern. So it might feel like an untenable situation. Usually it's someone else is causing the situation. Right? Like they are the ones that are being prickly or difficult or wrong. The customer, the employee, the family member, whatever it is. And this situation is going to continue to be frustrating. That's just how things are. That's just it. You might want to think about that monster to-do list that you have. All right, go ahead and let yourself feel whatever concerns or doubts, what you think about this challenge. Let whatever is coming up come up. This is where we're cozying up with the stuff that we normally avoid. Let it just all flow through your awareness. Now, I want you to also bring up what it feels like when you are free from pressure. Come back to that feeling open, relaxed, and calm. This is when you're at your best. Let yourself be open, aware, and alert, engaged with the challenge that you're facing. Your best is engaged, capable. And so as you reflect on this challenge, feeling capable and free from pressure, ask yourself, what matters most to you in this situation? What is your heart telling you about what deeply matters about this situation or what you deeply want? And notice your breath as you feel free from pressure. Notice your capacity, how you feel capable or capacitized to handle this challenge. So what does it feel like? My dog Wally just did the big sigh. So I know that there's shifting happening when Wally does the big sigh. So right here and right now, let yourself experience yourself at your best, free from pressure, engaging with this challenging situation. How does your body feel in this moment? What is your energy or the aliveness in you? What does that feel like? You're thinking about the challenging situation. What are you thinking or saying? What next step is clear to you? And so take a moment and let yourself feel and know who you are at your best. Take a mental note about what you are perceiving as important. What's actually most important here about your challenging situation? Not everything, just the most important thing. So we're going to kind of come out of this just a little bit. I want you to reflect on what we just what I took you through, what you just experienced. So what was it like to face your challenge free from pressure? I've taken hundreds of people through this exercise here, and usually they feel so much more capable. Like, yeah, I can do this. Yes, we call it being at your best when you're experiencing yourself this way, so we can name this territory and come back to it. I want you to just notice and reflect, what fear did you feel here? Were you locked into the fear, or could you feel the fear maybe moving, shifting? Maybe it didn't quite have as much of a hold on you if you had some of that. What possibilities or opportunities did you see? Okay, I'm going to take you into the next part here. Come back to sharing the screen. And what I want you to do here is open your eyes and look at the next slide I have here at what it might feel like when you're under pressure. So all these words here are words that describe it. And this is actually from Rick Hanson's book, Hardwiring Happiness. This is stuff that research has shown that people typically feel when they're triggered in that kind of low state, not the big, big trigger, but this is like the normal stuff that people mostly typically feel when they're under pressure. And all these words describe a reactive or threat response where fear as it is at play, subtle fear. So I want you to go ahead and look at these words and think about them. Think about what words you would use to describe what you feel like when you're under pressure. What are your words? You can obviously use those. So go ahead and close your eyes again. And notice your breath and body and thoughts as you think about yourself being under pressure. Just what comes up. And take a moment to let yourself anchor into what it feels like to be under pressure. Like, I immediately feel my breath. It just starts to, like, I can't breathe as deeply. The pressure, you're under pressure. Now we're going to go back to that same challenge that you thought about before. Bring that situation to mind now. The monster to-do list, the rapid change, the uncertainty, whatever it is, whatever the challenge is. And this time I want you to meet that challenge with what it feels like when you're under pressure. Right here, right now. Let's go there. You're focused, you're driving for results, you're pushing to get things done, you're feeling rushed, there's not enough time, things are really serious. Don't you know? You'll be better when this challenge gets checked off your to-do. You just be done with it. Let yourself drop into this space of feeling pressure. You probably use this kind of pressure to try to draw out your best. That's reactive hyper energized. So you know that you can be your best here. You also probably know how that's not sustainable all the time. This will burn you out. Your common sense is telling you long term isn't doable. So you're under pressure, you're facing this challenge. What you want doesn't matter here. You don't have time for that. You don't have time to ask your heart about what you deeply want. So as you engage in this challenge, what are you thinking or saying? What next step is clear to you here from this perspective? In this moment, again, what is going on with your breath? When you're under pressure, what does your capacity to handle this challenge feel like? What does your body feel like? Your energy? Yeah. Again, I'm having you check in and check in. And I want you to just really let yourself feel and know, like in your body, what it is like when you're under pressure. I want you to be able to recognize when this is happening to you when we come out of this practice. And notice what you're perceiving as important here about your challenging situation. So, into some reflection now. What was it like to face your challenge from your pressured self? So we call this being in drama. So we can name this territory as different from best self territory. So you can feel the difference inside of you. Yes, you can be in both best self and drama. And they can feel very different what you're actually anchored into. So what fear did you notice in this part of the practice? Just let yourself go there, cozy up with that fear. Yeah. What possibilities or opportunities did you see? I just want you to notice now, as we kind of step back, notice the difference between best self, engaging with your challenge, and drama, and engaging, and how you were able to shift between these two. I guided you through this. You can learn to do this for yourself. We're going to practice this shifting back and forth. It's a process that you can repeat. And now I want you to reflect on specifically what were you most clear about in the next step you should take? Was it more clear from your best or from drama? I mean, obviously, I'm thinking you're going to be more clear from your best, but you probably also had some kind of clarity from drama. That's possible. And from which state did you feel the most possibility or opportunity? Again, usually best self. There's a whole lot more possible there. So we're not judging best self as better than drama. This is often what happens when I take people through this exercise. So please, please, please don't be making drama bad, please. We're just noticing our perception when you feel the most capable and resilient and clear. Your perception and energy will be more clear, like the energy of spring, like those audacious plants shooting into the world. When you're focusing from your best self and learning from drama. So go ahead and take a deep breath. Let yourself wiggle your fingers and your toes to come out of the mindfulness experience. And I want to just use here my Hoberman sphere. This is a tool that I use to just demonstrate that perceiving clouds your vision. So when I go into drama, I'm in a place of contraction, feeling pressured to get things done, reactive fear. It literally causes our body to contract. I cannot see me or you when my perception is in drama, in a fear response, reactive. When I calm and relax and open, I am able to see more clearly, literally. This is a physical response in our physiology that happens. So orienting from your best self gives you more clarity when navigating situations that cause you to be reactive or feel fearful. So you may be like, oh, it's making me that way. It's the habit of your response. So from your best, that allows you to perceive more clearly what's a good next step, what's possible, where the opportunity is. And you can use then, when you know how to do this, you can use your best self perception to learn from drama. So this is orienting, this orienting from your best self and learning from drama is the core foundation needed, to shift from battling with change and uncertainty to navigating with clarity. So my phone has been beeping all through this. So it's, that's a distraction. It's interesting to stay centered through that distraction. So I want to take us into next steps. I want you to be practicing flipping between best self and drama. Just notice what you already know about how to do this in your life. And you can always come back to the mindfulness practices to help with that. And be sure to join me. Oh, I'm sorry. I want you to also notice your best self clarity, how when you are at your best, you can see more clarity. And then next week, I want you to join me if you can, same time, same day, on how to lead through profound change. All right, loves. It's so good to be with you in this. Thank you so much for watching and joining. And I will see you next week.